Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Total War Live. Today we are going to take a look at the campaign in Total War Pharaoh. And joining me today is...
Hello, I'm Alex. Nice to meet all of you.
Yes, so we've got Aleksandar, who's a lead game designer here and has worked on the campaign to help me talk through some of the all the new features that are coming in Total War Pharaoh, because there's a lot, and I really hope that this stream will make you as excited for the game as I am to play it, because it's a great game and there's so much to do in it. Um, we have a long list of things to do. Um, so I don't think we have much time to just talk crap. So let's just jump right into it, because everyone is just here to learn about the game, right?
And we're here to talk about it.
Yes. So let's talk about our playable factions. So we have 8 playable factions across 3 different cultures. Can you tell me a little bit? Let's start with the Egyptians.
Sure.
What can we expect from the Egyptians here? Who are they?
Uh, we have 4 Egyptian playable factions at the moment, and they have something in common between them. Even though they are factions which are separate and go for their own interests, they're one family. At least the 3 that we see at the moment: Seti, Tausret, and Amemnes. They're all related to the currently sitting pharaoh Merneptah. Ramses is also related in a way. He has his own claim to the crown, but it goes through his father, who is Setnacht, and who also is related to Merneptah. So it's kind of a family business. At this point, each of those characters is very interesting. Here we have Seti and Tausret, who were also husband and wife.
Yes.
And at the same time they had their own type of legitimacy claim to potentially the throne of Egypt. So it was one of those situations where nothing was really simple. It's an old country with lots of politics and lots of interests, large territories, and many of them very rich. So yeah, a few. Shall I say a few words for every one of them?
You know what? I think why not? Let's do that. We have time.
Okay, Ramses is he starts as the young Ramses. He's still not Ramses the Third. He's even with his youth attire and haircut, which once he reaches his manhood, it will be removed. He's sent to Sinai to learn to kind of hold this part of the Egypt, but also to be separated from his father and to be not too close to the throne. He's too young to be a direct threat to the throne, but it's in his future.
Right.
So he does well for Egypt, but also he is there for a reason. When we talk about Seti, moving to the south, he is son of Merneptah, and he's the heir to the throne. He likes war. He has this little vile note in his streak. He prefer to battle rather than talk, and he would use a lot of armies, many men to reach his goals. Ausret is further south. She's very interesting character. I very much like her.
Yes.
First, she has much softer touch. She has relation with Seti, their husband and wife, but also with her starting position here, she's in a very interesting and precarious place. In the middle of Egypt, it seems like possibly a safe place to be, but you have to the south Amemnes and to the north Seti, who, if angered, possibly can do unpleasant things. And finally, nomad people are also active, and nomad desert people are also active. And Tausret is one of the factions that will face and will be the defender of the
Mm,
Egyptian lands from them. Moving
fantastic.
forward, Amemnes is to the south, not only because he likes warmer climate, but he's sent further, the most further to the from the throne because he's
Mm,
very ambitious. He also has very direct claim to the throne. So Merneptah prefers to send him down south, where the gold mines are. Hopefully, hoping that this would satisfy his greed for power. But could it? Could it? We'll see. Amemnes
mm,
is very well adorned with gold. He has access to a lot of gold.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lots of gold, and he has one of the better hats, I'd say, in Total War Pharaoh. We'll see some excellent hats, but I think Amumes probably, definitely top three at least.
It's
You know,
very
like so,
very religious. It's very
mm.
religious.
How is it?
It represents the moon, the ram, and also
Ah,
if you see at the center there is the scarab. So it's a
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
very religious helm.
Interesting.
Uh, yeah, it gets a lot of power from the gods.
Yes. Let's take the Hittites next.
Very
Another two great hats.
Yes, very great hats. The Hatti Empire at this time is in turmoil. It has very it has internal turmoil. It's on the brink of civil war, but at the same time there is the pressure from the sea people, and also
Mm.
the pressure from the natural disasters. And we have those two characters, each with their own purposes. Kurunta, for example, let's start with Shupililiuma, because Shupililiuma is this character. He's the tragic character. He's the sitting king. This is something that separates him from every other faction in the game. He starts as a high king. Nobody
Yes.
else in the game starts as a high king. But this doesn't. This means that he has access to to the units of the high king and also to the powers of the high king. But his position is so troublesome that even those powers could not be enough for him to keep his empire not to fall in tatters.
Mm.
Very hard position. This is arguably the hardest starting position in the game. And in history, we know that Hutt Empire falls under the pressures of these times. The player will have the chance to survive those times, but could not expect this to be easy with
No.
this player, with
It.
this faction.
You know, we're going a little bit. You know, let's say anachronistic in that you can save the Hittite Empire, or the Hatti Empire, and but that is up to a very skilled leader, I'd say.
Yes, yes. Uh, so finally, Kurunta, he has his claim, he has his ambitions. He will take, as you see, the opportunist. He thinks that he's better than Shipiluma and he can manage all the pressures around. So he has his own agenda. He's ruthless. Interesting character. As you can see, he's starting at the shores of the sea. So he will face some of the wrath of the sea people also.
Mm.
Pressure between the hammer and the anvil. Shupililuma from the north and the sea peoples from the south. Not a very easy position also, but the sea will provide good food, at
Yes.
least.
Fishies.
Yeah.
All right. And then neither Egyptian nor Hittite. We've got the Canaanites.
The Canaanites, yes. They're represented by the factions of Irsu and Bay. Bay is possibly the character with the least total war blood in his veins. He's in a tough position and he faces Ramses from the south and Irsu, who is the warlord. Uh, Very warlord-like leader. So Bay uses a combination of soft skills, of armies, and possibly trade and diplomacy to go through his to go through his challenges. And
Mm.
Irsu is we can say vile. He has something as a revenge is in his heart. He needs to make the world pay. So in terms of gameplay, we can say that Tirsu is possibly the most total war
Yes.
faction. He will destroy everything in his sight, and this is the way he can prosper the most. If he reaches some of the territories, either to if he goes to the court, he will just wreak havoc. He doesn't really care about
Mm.
structure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he. I mean, he is the herald of the collapse.
Yes,
Really.
He's the one faction that who the one faction who actually enjoys the collapse.
It's really fantastic. All right, so those are our playable factions. Let's go through the campaign customization, something that I am intimately familiar with because if you watched the video yesterday on campaign customization, I've spent the last like month and a half doing nothing but this. So for Total War Pharaoh, you can change the game a lot for
Yes.
each and every playthrough. Now, why did the team want to add in campaign customization? Why don't we want a curated, this is the way the campaign is every time thing? Why do we want to let people choose?
This is a very good question. And first, customization options is something that we as developers and ourselves, players of the game, wanted to have in the game and see in the game. And also, the community is something that community was always vocal about this feature. So this is kind of something a win-win situation for us. But let's say how it affects the game. For us
Mm.
as the game developers, we can envision a certain progression, a certain development of the campaign. We can envision what balance we think is best when it comes to the toughness of to the challenges of the economy or the challenges of the AI or possibly the sea peoples. But this would be only our vision. This is the vision that we would like to represent and tell the story of the Bronze Age collapse.
Mm.
But starting with this sandbox idea in our minds that we are creating a sandbox game with many systems, this meant that there would be so many variables
Yes.
regardless of what we create as a pet for the player. This would cover many possibly players, but the opportunity to fine tune the game to a
Yes.
certain extent, just a little bit here and there, to make this experience just as you like to play it. This is something that this system allows, and I believe this is possibly the strongest aspect. Some players prefer a little slower expansion rate. Some players a
Mm.
little bit more faster in their expansion rate. Some players prefer larger battles or something more turmoilish. Some players prefer more peaceful game, and
Indeed.
those settings allow for this, for slightly and fine-tuned customization. And on the top of this, we decided that it's going to be fun if we allow for some changes that can totally break the game of
Oh yeah.
as we envisioned it. Not
Yes. So
not to break the game, but as we envisioned it.
yeah. So we what we did was that we contacted four influencers, Total War, big Total War players, and asked them to give us their settings, and then we made a video about it. And our card, who's very popular Total War streamer, made I think the most sadistic collection of settings. So if you go into battle here, you can toggle auto resolve battle. Even though it's on, it's a little bit backwards, but if you toggle auto resolve battle on, you may not auto resolve any battle. So now you have to play every battle. Now also let's make all units in the entire game unbreakable. So now not only do you have to play every battle, you now also have to kill every unit completely. Then also disable retreat from battle. So you have every time like the battle screen comes up where you normally would choose retreat, auto resolve, or battle. Now you have to press the battle button. There's no running back. This is sadistic.
Yeah.
I like here's the thing. If you want to play like this, absolutely go ahead. I don't recommend it. The campaign will take 600 hours to get to turn 10, but you know, it's a it is an option for you if you want to do it. There are also some great examples here, like
Yeah,
you
this
can
one.
randomize the starting positions of everyone in the world. You can randomize all of their personalities so that someone might be very aggressive or someone might not be. You can change research rates. You can have all of the gods discovered from the beginning. We'll talk more about that later. You can have you can be like, no, I only want armies to have max 10 units. That's a setting that you can do if you want to, or 15, or if you leave it on default, it's the default 20. There's recruitment capacity, there's disaster frequency, there's movement speed or movement length, I suppose. Iron Man is really cool because Iron Man is kind of like the old legendary setting in that the game autosaves for you when you are not allowed to save specifically, but it's like even more. So like if you go into that battle screen, it's gonna save there, so you can't like reload and try and save scum. Um, and it but you can choose any difficulty with it. So you can play easy Iron Man if you want to, or you can play hard Iron Man. Just for those people that want that sort of inability, I suppose, to go back. You can't save scum.
Mm.
Forbid trading is another cool one if you want to disable trading. And then something that we're going to choose here is fully equipped generals and generals at max rank. Also, I'm going to turn these off just because. And you can also change things for the AI, so you could go in and be like, I want a lot of money for myself and I want the AI to have nothing.
Or
If
the
you
other
want,
way around.
or the other
If
way
you
around.
want more challenge.
Absolutely. Or if you want the AI to never be able to do diplomacy with you, you have to be the one to initiate. That's a really great one. I know a lot of people would probably choose this one because the AI can be a little bit like, hey, do you want my gold? Well, no. Hey, do you want my gold? Hey, do you want my gold? It's like, no, leave me alone. And then we have the normal settings. So that's a brief overview of campaign customization. We're gonna go into this campaign here. I forgot. Did I enable random? We'll see if I enabled random. I forgot.
Um, we are playing with Tirsu.
Well, for just for this one, I guess
Okay,
we are.
okay.
Yeah, that's not where Eastern normally starts.
Oh, this is a random location for
Yeah,
sure.
this is a random location.
Yeah.
So we have
We just went through the map.
we have Merneptah starting up here where Eastern
There you go.
normally starts, and we are down here now. Okay, cool.
Wow.
So the reason I wanted to start this campaign is because, as you saw, we selected generals at max rank and fully equipped, which means that they have a bunch of gear and stuff, so we can talk about it. So
Yes.
let's talk about the. Let's start with the levels. So this is for all generals that we have in the game.
Yes.
Our faction leaders can't die. They die and then go away for a couple of turns. But
They
the
come when they.
yes, but they can't disappear entirely.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
But the
then
general can.
yes, but a normal general can. Fantastic. So as they level up, we have competencies, skill points. Now, what is this? There's a bunch of things here. What am I looking
Yes.
at?
Yes. Let's. This is the character management screen, and what we see on the right are the competencies. They're in three categories, and they would provide different buffs to the character. Each level provides the player with 1 point of competency, so the character will take some time to develop. As you can see, the red one on the top, it will provide you with upkeep, but on every 5 points there is additional bonus that is attached. So there is a growing incentive to go there. The second one is is replenishment, provides replenishment, and the third one provides movement on the map. So those three competency categories provide fundamental benefits for the character.
Mm.
But once you choose where to put those points, those are just the beginning of the benefits that you get. Oh, at the bottom we see those circular icons. They represent the titles which a character can be assigned, uh, to which a character can be assigned. So hit them hard is a title which no careless in strikes is the title which can now Irsu has. So he is now Irsu, careless in strikes, and these are
Mm.
the abilities that he gets. A player can assign 4 titles to the character, but they need to be unlocked at certain
Yeah.
levels. At the moment we're 27 levels, so all of them are unlocked. But in order to choose one of those titles, you need to make the combination of competencies right. To do the combination of the
Right.
competencies right.
So we
So
see here
yes,
that this one we need 11 of the ardor
yes.
competencies. So if we add 11, we've now unlocked it.
Yes, and we can assign it up there. You can see that this is a third level title, so this would require the third level of evolution of the character, possibly somewhere 17 or 18th level
Mm.
of character will allow you to use this title. So we have these several things that you should play around. Choose the competencies based on their fundamental benefits, but also they provide titles which the player can choose and swipe based on their needs. And then if you press details,
Mm.
uh, uh, uh,
Details.
yes, we have this additional aspect of the character, which are the traits. The traits are acquired during the gameplay. If the character is doing something or repeatedly or something like that, there is a chance for them to get a trait. At the moment, those are the unlocked traits. The
Mm.
not acquired traits, but this one is acquired, and it's on the if you hover on the blue field, yeah, we
Oh,
see
there we
that
go.
Irsu is barbaric by trait at the moment, and this
Mm.
means that resources from raising are increased by 20%. You're incentivized to raise more.
Ah,
um, yes, and it's gained by raising more. So, but
right.
there is this other aspect of this cow chart when we construct buildings in the
Right.
legend.
So if you construct buildings, you gain more cultured points,
Yes,
and if you raise and sack settlements and shrines, you gain barbaric points. And I don't
yes,
know if the audience doesn't have the screen full screen right now. There's a little arrow here, which is showing you where on the meter you are. So you can go all the way down to barbaric 3 or cultured 3, depending on what you're doing. And there's a bunch of different traits.
yes. So this is this aspect of the character, and also we have the equipment on the character.
Yes.
All those slots here, all those slots here. On the left, you hover on the equipment. You see the armor. Then you
Right.
see yes, and during the game, the player will be able to acquire normally different types of. Um, Armor, so they can choose to give it to the player or give it to other character, to the main
Mm.
character or other characters. If we go down, we see that there is a shield, and then there is below a weapon, and this is very important in our game. Um, by using and assigning to the general of different weapons or different shields, the this will change the structure of the general's bodyguard
Bodyguard.
unit.
Yes.
So if you want Irsu to be wearing Kopesh in his next battle, you can assign the Kopesh. If you would like Irsu to wear a spear or even a bow,
Mm.
we just assign them here and they wear them in battle.
Or if we want to, I believe I have to do this: take off the armor and the shield. Oh nope, sorry. We need a spear, I think. Right. We can assign them a chariot, and now
And
he's spear chariots.
yes. This is very exciting for me. This element of the game. Because it changes constantly. You
Yeah.
gain different ancillaries during the game, and you just combine different characters.
Hmm.
increase their strengths
Right.
whenever necessary.
If
So
we
yes,
also, as someone pointed out in chat, Viking style. So this spear, for example, gives us access to spear wall formation. We in the battle streams we've talked about the different formations like advance, retreat, and so on. And this is one of the ones you get, and you get access to it from the spears. Or from this spear. This is specifically for this bodyguard unit. There are the individual units are going to be based on other things, what they have access to.
yes. If we go on the right now, there are on the right slots in the
Oh,
central
so yeah,
console. Yeah, these are also items and followers that can be assigned. Generally, there are limited slots for all those, so the player can choose which serves them best at certain
mm,
point. They need to have this choice. And finally, something that I'm very excited. I know that we're going to talk about it a little later, but this empty slot there can
yes,
be a crown if you become the Pharaoh, or there
yes,
can be a Hittite regalia if you become the Hittite king. So this is another slot that can be equipped, and Irsu can be wearing another crown at the moment, not this very
yes.
scary hat.
If we had a different crown, he would actually it would actually reflect on his model. I don't think I have a save in which I've prepared another crown. Unfortunately, I didn't have time. But he will have wear a different hat. Right. Let's. Oh my God, we're already 26 minutes in, and we are on point 3 out of 11. Let's speed up a bit
Okay.
and talk a little bit about resources. So those of you who played Troy will recognize some of this because we thought it was a great system in Troy, and so we brought it back for Pharaoh, which are the resources: food, stone, wood, bronze, and gold.
Yes. A few words about them very quickly. The player will find out that normally food is necessary for upkeep and recruitment of units and
Mm,
armies. Um, the other resource which will be necessary for the upkeep and recruitment of higher tier armies is naturally bronze. And also for the most elite units, some gold would be necessary. Naturally, the chariots will require some wood to be constructed.
you're right.
So this is kind of the composition of how armies are related to the resources. In terms of construction, the most important resource when it comes to constructing food buildings on the map is the wood. Wood
Mm,
historically during this time, especially in Egypt, was very scarce. There is a little bit more wood that can be that could be found in Canaan or in Anatolia,
yeah,
but not too much in Egypt. Only on the Nile, through ports. The player can get their wood. Stone is necessary for most other buildings, but it's
you're
always a
right.
combination between the wood and the stone when it comes to the construction of buildings.
Yeah, so we see on the
Something,
left here, sorry, I'm just going to intersect. We see on the left here that the resources for this mustering hall is 100 stone, 35 wood, and 2 workforce, which we will get back to workforce.
yes. I would just like to say a few words about the pace of the campaign and the
Mm-hmm.
expansion based on the
Absolutely.
economy. In Pharaoh, we were aiming to have a slower pace of the campaign, which means that at the beginning, players might look at the income from buildings and think that possibly it's too little. But our aim was to utilize the first 15 to 20 turns with a little slower pace of the game. This means that naturally the player will be able to get their first full stack of units possibly at turn 12 to turn 20, and this is
Mm.
something okay for the game. We wanted to have this approach because it feels more natural. We wanted to allow the player to experience first battles with smaller armies and then grow to the full stacks to experience this start and starting from small, from rags to riches in a way story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
Yeah, I'm just checking out the wildlife here. We've got some what it is, herons, I think, and this is
pelicans, I
a
think. Was,
cow.
I'm not sure.
Also, someone I forgot it scrolled away, but someone in chat pointed out how amazing the shroud looks in this game, like
Yes,
rolling clouds, and then ooh.
that's the
Um,
settlement.
anyway, right. So I just said we were running out of time. Let's load up a save. Where are you, Townsret? We're gonna start on turn 8. So this is a totally legit save that I've definitely played without any form of cheats or hacks or anything. Completely legit. I'm just an absolute god gamer. Oh, I didn't realize this was going to come up here. So I guess we'll talk about ambitions real quick. So what are our ambitions?
Yes, these are small tasks that the player can choose for themselves, something that they can see for their immediate future. And if they can achieve this quick task, they can take a good reward for that. So if you think that you can have 22 settlements in 20 turns, five more than now, please go for it.
Yeah. Um,
If you're ambitious, you can do that, I think.
yeah, this is totally legit, by the way. I definitely conquered all of this. I didn't go into the console and
Very
press
impressive. Very
take it.
impressive.
Yeah, take control of region. Nah, nah, nah.
For 8 turns, based on this is very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I needed to make sure that we had save games for this stream, and I didn't have a lot of time because the campaign video. Right, so let's talk about settlements. So, seasoned Total War veterans will. I think this seems familiar. There are going to be some new things, but generally, I think you are going to feel familiar with what's going on. So we've got our settlements here. We've got a province capital, which has, in this case, 8 building slots. Then we have the province regions, which each have 4. And the capital is going to have access to a bunch of different types of buildings of different categories, and not the same as the regions. I believe there is a difference
There is
there.
different mix. Yeah, there is different mix. There is very interesting thing about the regions and the settlements before we move forward
Yep.
with the new things. For Pharaoh, we follow geography in terms of resources. So the player can expect to find wood on the Nile and not to find much wood in the desert. The geography of the game defines to a large extent where the player can expect different types of resources.
Right.
And minor settlements will be differing in terms of resources a lot. But there will be some buildings that are similar both in the province capital and the regions. We wanted to provide, as you see, we have a lot of buildings, right? We
Yeah.
wanted to provide the opportunity of the player to construct the best combination that they see fit. There are buildings that are landmarks, unique buildings in different settlements that cannot be constructed there, and also. Before we move, there is also one additional type of settlements that we have, the cult centers and the
Oh
uh,
yeah.
you can find one with yeah, there you go, with this circle, yellow, yeah, this bright golden circle. As you
Let
see,
me
this settlement has 10 slots.
hang on. Let me just be really good at the game for a moment.
Okay.
And oh, I took that over. Cool. Look how good I
Oh,
am.
you're very good. I cannot agree more. But as you see, Wasset at the moment has 10 slots. It's a special settlement. It provides more opportunities for the player to combine things. And here the player can you can see this is the second slot at the bottom from the left to the right. It's
Mm.
constructed. This is on to the left. This one, yeah. This is a grand temple of a moon. This is a unique building because it features only in this specific special settlement, which is a cult center of a moon.
Oh, fantastic.
And something very interesting. This is actually Thebes.
Oh, of
Yes.
course. Of course. That yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Look at this.
This is
Oh,
Karnak, I believe, or the
yeah.
other. Is it Karnak?
You know what? My knowledge of Egyptian history and geography is better than it was 2 years ago. That is for damn sure. But it's still not, what someone would classify as good.
Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry. Sorry for asking.
that's all right. Right. So let's talk about happiness, influence, and workforce. Starting with happiness.
Yes, the promise management in our game has these three elements kind of combined together, especially happiness and workforce. Happiness very much depends on how much workforce there is. There are other options, but workforce idle workforce have its influence on happiness. Just
Mm.
like in real life, if there are too many idle people in the settlement and they don't have anything to do, possibly they will make some trouble and it will bring the happiness down. There are also, of course, additional factors to bring the happiness down, raiding armies, etc. But what the happiness can do for you, it can, when in negative numbers, it can slow the construction time. People are unhappy, they're sloppy in their work. The workforce growth is lessened a lot. People just don't come to the city to the settlement that much, and the morale and recruitment is lowered. When on the other side, happiness increases growth of the settlement, and the player is able to construct a lot more, a lot faster. Workforce is a very is the other very very interesting resource. Workforce is something that is new for Pharaoh. Workforce is a resource which is spent for the construction of every building.
Mm.
So it's depleted and it takes time to get new people to come and help in the construction and then in the maintenance of this new building. So the player should be careful with workforce. Every building takes workforce.
Yep.
We have these 5 resources, which is like faction-wide resources, and then we have province-wide resource, which is the idle workforce. When the workforce is too much workforce, idle workforce is on the is within the settlement. Not only the happiness drops, but the player is able to recruit more units at a certain at a turn per turn. So
There
there
we go.
is a plus, but there is also a minus. So if you construct some happiness buildings like some wineries or some festival buildings just to keep those people busy, you might be fine. And
Yeah, yeah,
influence is very much connected to economy, and in this game people should pay attention to the economy if they would like to prosper.
yes.
It's a combination game. Influence represents the presence of your culture, your faction's culture in the
Mm.
province. So if you're from Egyptian cultures and surrounded by other Egyptian factions, you're kind of fine. But if you're on the boundaries of an empire, it becomes very tricky because when the influence drops, it affects the production of vital resources. And please just hover on the lower level of influence to scare you a little bit.
Yeah, 75%. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So
And
so
then, of course, at the high, you have 10% extra. Um,
yes.
there are some buildings that will be able to give you influence.
Yes.
I don't think I have. Well, let's see.
There are
Nope.
buildings, also characters, and also outposts. Some outposts
Mm.
also can provide influence for you,
So
and this
Outpost is
is
something that
yeah,
is completely new for Total War Pharaoh.
yes. Those are buildings, constructions that can be constructed around the region of every region of the map. On the map, they differ in numbers. The reason for that is strategic. There are regions which allow for more better location, for more good locations. Some regions don't allow for such. But this is not very important. Outposts and settlements as a whole, as a combination, should allow the player to prosper and win the game.
Hmm.
They are very very helpful in many ways, and some of them are very important for important systems of the game. Well, let's start with military very quickly. We can go through them if you will.
Yeah, let's
We,
very quickly.
we have forts. You can construct fort, this fort, and you can put units in the fort with half upkeep, and then
Mm.
those units, if the settlement in the region is attacked, those units will reinforce the settlement.
Right. So on Wednesday we showed a fort battle. Um, so in that battle, that would be the equivalent of attacking a fort like this, which has units garrisoned in it.
Yes, yes, yes. What is the next one here? It's lookout post. Now, this one is very interesting because it provides by itself a garrison. So
Mm.
constructing this one, it provides additional 3 units garrison to the settlement, once again increasing its defensive capabilities.
Yeah.
But also every outpost can provide passive bonuses to the region or to the province, but also it can provide bonuses if a character visits them. So especially for the lookout post, the character will achieve siege hold time lesson and increase the ambush chance of the character for some time. So this
Yeah.
is what
And
additionally we provide.
yeah, and you can use it to go even further because it refunds 50% of the movement spent to reach it. So you can go very far if you stop by a lookout post and recharge in the middle
Yes.
of a single turn. We've also got administrative outposts.
Yes, this one, just very quickly, let me just, I will go, this one increases the influence. And
Mm.
also, very important, if visited, it provides attrition to the army. Attrition immunity to the army for the desert attrition immunity. So
Mm.
the player can venture into the deserts without penalty. So it's a very, very important outpost for some
Yeah,
occasions.
especially for
What is
this
the next
area.
one? Yeah.
Next on, we've got an economic outpost, which is
Yeah,
an Egyptian trading post.
yes, and if visited, it will also provide reduced upkeep for the visiting army
Oh,
for a few
nice.
turns. So it's a beautiful addition to the economy.
Yeah. And lastly, we have the religious outpost, which is a shrine of Isis here.
It provides favor, and favor adds up to the to big bonuses if you worship this
Mm.
particular god.
Yes, fantastic. Also, workforce growth and happiness within this province. Fantastic. So, yeah, outposts are going to add a lot more to do with the provinces as well. Um, lastly, let's talk about recruitment because in the battle streams, we talked a lot about the local units, but we've never really been able to show what that is. So, let's disband these units so I can show it off.
Mhm.
So in Total War Pharaoh, there are both your faction units, which in this case are the units available to Tausret.
Yes,
Um,
they're faction, yeah, unique faction units for her.
yep. But there are also the native units.
Yes, they're unique. They're native for the realm.
Mm.
And what
So
is a
right,
realm?
so right now we are in this area
Mhm.
in Mess, and oh, that's a spoiler. And we have access to Upper Egyptian Militia Clubmen. Now
Yes,
let me. Yep, go ahead.
because we are in this realm, and we can, if we zoom out, we can see the filter that allows us to see what the realm it is, and the player can orient themselves about those units in the realm.
Right. So they come from the upper.
If you zoom a little bit up, a little bit more, I I don't see on the left the. Is this the maximum that you can zoom out?
Yes.
Okay, okay. There is something that I don't see on the left of the screen, so I cannot navigate you to the realms at
Ah.
the moment.
Well, I think.
There it
Oh,
is. There it
oh,
is. Do you see it?
is it?
So if you press the realm here at the bottom,
Oh,
at,
realms. There we go.
yes, and you can see now that this is the Upper Egypt realm, right? And
Yes.
if those threat is there, the native units of this realm can be recruited while she's there, and has the necessary buildings, of course.
Right. And I just happened to find a teleporter, and then right now
Oh,
Tausret is in Kush.
yes.
It's a very strange world we live in. So if we open recruit here, we'll find we can recruit Nubians from the native units.
And nothing else, because she's in very unfamiliar territory. She doesn't have access to her own units at the moment.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. She can get some units from the land.
Right.
This is the
So if you're playing, say, a faction like, say, Kurunta, who has very few range units, or I think no range units in his faction units, if you were to, say, find yourself in Nubia, you could recruit some Nubian bowmen
Yes.
to back up your faction, but you have to make sure that you get there.
yes.
Right, so that's how recruitment of local units work. Next, let's talk about royal decrees while I load up a save.
Okay. Royal decrees are separated in three categories: economy, military, and civic.
Mm.
It's a large tree, which wouldn't be a player wouldn't be able to develop within the framework of a normal campaign. So we can say that there is a lot of choice. Something very, very important that we need to pay attention here, and I believe you already went there with your choices. This one is a very important one.
Right.
Because it allows the player to dedicate to worship more gods. So there are
Right.
my
gonna talk-
recommendation.
Yeah.
My recommendation is for the player to walk around and familiarize themselves with the tree. It's a bit huge and it might take some time,
Yeah.
but there are some things that we can help with. One is the categories on the top left. There are those
Right.
icons that allow the player to kind of orient themselves what royal decree is what, and on the right, if you write in the field over there on the top right,
Ah.
if you write, let's say, gold, for example, because I'm not sure about.
Oh yeah. So we can
There
see
you go.
here that they're
Those are royal decrees connected with gold. If you write gold, like the resource gold, then possibly there are others that are highlighted. So this is a way for the player to orient themselves a little faster, a little quicker in the
yeah. And
streams.
if I don't actually know if this is in any other Total War. I found this by accident today. If it's in another Total War, cool. But some people may not know this if there is, which is, say I want another god dedication slot immediately. Normally, what I would do is be like, all right, I'm gonna research this, and then I'm gonna try and remember that I want to go this way. But in Pharaoh, I can just go boom,
Yes,
and then it will automatically go there.
yes, I believe this feature that is also in other titles, but this is very helpful one for going longer chains.
Alex, I've been playing this game literally professionally for 4 years now, and I just learned this. So
It's a
I have to
game.
believe that there are other people out there that didn't know about this kind of feature. Okay.
And I'm very happy that you noticed, mentioned it, because it's a very cool quality of life feature, and it's
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very cool. But it's a very large game. It's very hard for a person to really know it in details.
Yeah. Let's see. Lance 425 says having a search bar is such an amazing addition. I don't see why this isn't a must for every developer. I agree. Right, so there's a lot of different royal decrees, and you're just gonna have to experience them yourselves. Right, so we talked a fair bit about about deities with the god dedication slots. So let's talk about deities in general.
Let's. It's one of the big systems in the game. We have 19 gods, which cover the three cultures, and those times were reaching gods.
Hmm.
For example, the Hittite Empire had about 800 of them.
Oof.
Um, so the system, we wanted to represent the diversity of the period and the historical time, but also we wanted to provide the player with meaningful strategic choices,
Hmm.
and that's why the system at the moment, the system allows the player to worship at a certain time up to maximum three gods, which can
Right.
be unlocked. Incrementally, as we've seen through the royal decrees. At the moment, you worship Isis, the sister and the spouse of Osiris. And the way so this there are a few things here. First, how do we uncover new gods? Because when we start, we will have to our disposal just limited number of gods.
Hmm.
Once the player starts expanding, they will they will go into new realms and they will unlock new gods. Once those gods are unlocked, they will be eligible for the player to worship them. The player
Right.
can choose to worship one god at one time and then convert to another god. There
Hmm.
is a simple way for them. Once converted, all shrines will be converted as well through this mechanism here. But how do you gain favor? This is how we uncover gods. But once we worship a god, can we press on the Isis icon, please?
Okay.
You're
Let's do ISIS. Okay.
yeah, because she's already chosen. But here we can see that every god provides for three levels, and there are a few elements of effects that they provide. First, the shrines,
Hmm.
which are outposts. They can be constructed in one per region. They provide first favor, which increases the tiers. It's necessary to reach the third tier. You need favor with the god, but the shrines provide each shrine provides different passive effect to the region or to the province.
Hmm.
If it's visited by a character, which means prayer. If a character prays to the shrine, these effects will be applied to the player, to the character.
Ooh.
And also there is one more thing that I very much like. I think it's very cool. The option to devote a general to this
Right.
particular god. So this general gets this additional effect from the god, but only one character can be devoted to a certain god. So this kind of represents a closer relation, a little bit more devotion, if you will. I
Hmm.
very much like the flavor of this,
Right.
um,
Let's
and the
devote
strategic
Tasri
element
Tasri.
also.
ISIS
Yeah,
here.
there she is. Now she's dedicated. That now wherever she goes, her influence increases, etc.
Let's see.
So
Does that show up in? Yes, devoted to ISIS. There we go.
there you go. And this is how, in very broad strokes, the system works.
Hmm.
I think for the players, they'll have a lot to explore here and to see how they can combine the gods, etc.
Yeah.
This is a system that can help them win the game.
And there's a lot of gods, and you can only
A lot of
choose
gods.
three, and it is based on where you are in the world. So as you can see, I don't even have all of the Egyptian gods unlocked here, even though I cheated all the way to hell and back. And I definitely don't have any of the. I don't have any of the
Kind of like,
Canaanites, and the only reason I have any of the Hittites is because let's see. Yeah, I used to own this place. Uh,
yeah,
then I
you've been
forced
there. You know about the gods.
yeah. No, I
No,
found a teleporter and ended up here somewhere. Took these three places. I don't know. It was very strange.
obviously you had a conversation with some local people learning about the gods.
Yeah.
Also,
Exactly. But so that's how you find gods. You kind of you go, you conquer, you convert. I don't know, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so the gods, another way that you can get a very different playthrough in each and every campaign that you do, because there are so many gods. So someone else can do the maths on like the potential of combination of gods you can have. There's a lot.
Yes, and there is even one additional combination thing that we will possibly talk a little bit later about it, which adds additional level of in
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
circumstances. Uh, yes, and here once again, when we see already the gods, once again those scout centers that we revisited on the map,
right.
they make more sense because the temple there provides a lot of favor. So if you want to
Mm.
boost your god really quickly, and for example, is Miam the cult center
Yes, it's called center of
Pisces?
someone. Yes.
A Pisces, exactly. If you get this one, you get 250 favor. You kind of go almost a tier, or probably literally a tier
Mm.
up just by having this scout center. There you go.
Right.
If
Yeah,
you if
required
you get
for
this scout
250.
center, yeah, you're maximize this god, maximizing it just by
Right.
getting
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. So I have 440. And the temple gave 250.
yeah.
That's the entirety of like that just takes you from tier 1 to tier 2 immediately. So having those cult centers are fantastic.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to royal traditions. So this is something that is going to be very different between the Hittites and the Egyptians, and because of that, we're going to choose neither. We're going to choose Bay,
Okay.
because Bane is a Canaanite, neither Egyptian nor Hittite, which means that you have access to both.
And he has the way a way to break the rules because there is one very very important requirement for a person to be able to choose one of those traditions, and it
Right.
is to have a sacred land, to own a
Yes.
sacred land.
Let's see
But
if I can find one. So
but
there we
Bay
go.
but Bay doesn't need one because
Mm.
he's in his wisdom and conniving ways he's able to kind of circumvent this very important rule.
Ah, fantastic. Right, so we're going to go into Power of the Crown here, which lets us choose a royal tradition. You can choose either the Hittite or the Egyptian, as long as you own sacred Egyptian land or sacred Hittite land, except if you're Bay, because then you can cheat.
Yeah. Yeah, you're cheating, and this is very important. Before we move forward, those two, as you see, those two highlighted, one in yellow and one in orange. Those are actually the sacred lands of each of the empires.
Mm.
So these are the lands that one can occupy, and they're the sacred ones. Yeah.
Right. So let's, for this, we're going to move over to Ramesses in just a bit to look at the Egyptian royal traditions. But let's just select the Hittite royal traditions here. So you can see that you get Hittite
Yes.
legitimacy, you get power of the crown, great king powers, the court, and ancient legacies.
Yes. A
So
lot of
let's,
things.
yes. So there we go. Shupililiuma is currently the great king of the Hittite Empire.
Yes.
Um,
Very quickly, we can go around this one. At the bottom left, you see your own legitimacy. Uh, you obviously get it from a lot of buildings.
yes.
Those these are very specific buildings. Interestingly, at the bottom below, but you here you can see the sources of legitimacy.
Hmm.
You can get legitimacy by constructing monuments, by landmarks, by owning sacred lands, by having battles, by participating in the court. There are so many ways
Oh,
by
yeah.
which a person can gain legitimacy, but the most important ones are the lands and the
Yep.
monuments.
Right.
For
Yeah.
for Hittites, battles, of course, are with a little more impact because they're more fighty.
Mm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, and you can see you're in political state peace. So it's kind of there is still not civil war. Shupilum is still the king, not challenged by anyone. He
Mm.
has 59 legitimacy, and all others beneath him have 38, 34, etc. Those are the factions that own some lands and possibly have some monuments, etc., but they
Mm.
don't have enough legitimacy. And this is the interesting part. Do you see this middle category that says potential pretenders?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's that about?
Whenever faction reaches three-fourths, about 75% of the Pharaoh's legitimacy, they become eligible to challenge him,
Mm.
challenge them. So this is the catch. If any faction has three-quarters of the Pharaoh sitting high king in this case legitimacy, they can challenge him
All
for
right.
the throne.
And you can do that at any time, as long as you have the
Yes.
required legitimacy. You can challenge him for the throne, and I suppose that starts a civil war.
Yes, it starts civil war immediately, and then other factions can join. Every faction
Mm.
that has even slightest of legitimacy, if they feel powerful enough, they can join the war. The
Oh, okay.
war, the war takes certain amount of turns. At the end of the war, whoever has the most legitimacy becomes the next great king.
Ah, okay. That's very cool. So, say that I am a little Irsu here. I have only 7 legitimacy,
Yeah.
but Bay manages to get himself up to 46 legitimacy. He starts the war. I can still join. I can still join
Yes,
in on the
you
fun.
can. You can, but how can you gain those legitimacy? You're gonna fight a lot, and this
Yeah.
will bring a lot of legitimacy to you. But can you go to 60 for the duration of the war? Possibly. You can try. You can try.
Yeah.
A good thing is that more than one wars, especially in Egypt. I'm not sure about the Hittites. How is the what is the frequency of legitimacy civil wars there?
Mm.
But in Egypt, more than one civil war can easily happen.
All right, it's fantastic. And then once you become the Great King or the Pharaoh, you have access to a bunch of stuff, including special units. But if you want to learn more about that, you're gonna have to get the game yourself, or I guess go watch influencers play the game because they're probably gonna be doing it. Right, let's. Because I have like people love Irsu, people do love Shibboliliuma. I do think though that we should move over to Ramesses and take a look at the Pharaoh's crown.
Okay.
Ba-ba-ba-bum. Because then we're also going to be talking about the courts. Because of course, there's more than just having a crown. There's also, people. So even if as Ramesses, I don't have to go for the for the Pharaoh's crown, do I? I could go for High
Yes.
King.
Yes, you can. If you own one region of those highlighted lands, you can go for each court, and this
Mm.
is the breaking of history that we allow the player to do. And also, you can choose to do nothing. You
Yeah.
just can go vanilla and say, "I don't need this administration stuff. I'm going to do it the old tribal way," for example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really do want to see like a challenge run of someone playing Amun-Mes and becoming the High King of the Hittite Empire.
This is possible. This is possible. If
Yeah.
somebody wants to do that, they can. They can.
All right. So let's choose the royal tradition of the Pharaoh, the
Yeah.
Egyptians.
And very important thing, once you choose, there is no turning back. Very
Yeah.
important one. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So it looks pretty much the same. Meneptah has a little bit more legitimacy, but overall, pretty
Yeah.
much the same as our Bay game. Um, let's see. I don't think. No, we don't have a crown. But
You need to challenge the Pharaoh first. In
yeah,
order
yeah.
to-
So let's talk about the courts.
Yes. Okay, this is high politics here. The court is an interesting thing and it's a very busy thing, and it allows the player to kind of tie things together.
Mm,
We have many systems in the game, and the player has different options to win the game. They can choose one way or another, but there would be no way to choose just one system and go forward.
mm,
The player will need to balance between systems, and the court represents allows this to happen. It represents a very interesting and complicated society, if I may say so, because here are represented characters from different factions. The
right.
court can hold Amemnes and Seti and Tausret. Just a second, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Uh,
so we have a bunch of different positions here within the
yes,
court, the Egyptian court specifically.
and this is the way this is another way for the faction to interact, not only on the campaign map in battle,
Mm,
but here they can interact between each other. Every position in the court provides different bonuses and incentives for the player to occupy the certain position. At the
right.
same time, each the court allows for the player to to interact with all those characters, to have intrigues with them, to try to assassinate them, to make friends with them and ask them for bonuses. For example, the first commander naturally. Okay, the treasurer.
Sorry.
If you to become the treasurer, you have access to economical benefits, lower building costs on Shemsuhor. But if you press make request, the button in the middle button here,
Yeah.
you can see that if you become friend with this treasurer, you can have access to the embezzle plot, which allows for a lot of money, and also you can ask for builder wages, which will reduce the cost of a of category of buildings for six turns through the Shemsuhor. So if you go to the first commander, you can gain some units. If you go to the Viceroy of Kush, which at the moment is occupied by our friend Amemnes,
Yeah.
it provides gold. Just sitting on this position, you get some gold per turn. But also you also have access to Kushite units, and when you want to make a request from this person, then you can have some of those Kushite mercenaries for yourself, or get some of the gold that he has access to. So
That's
this
very
is the code can be interacted, and if a player wants to maximize the benefits from a card, they can interact with the card every turn. There are assassination plots which can remove characters from certain positions and make things worse for the different factions, etc. There is a lot of things here, and the court is very useful for a player to win the game.
Yeah. And you can see each of the legitimacy of everyone that is sitting on the court.
Yes,
and also
yes.
there's the regard. So if we were to, say, perform intrigue and do some gossiping with on the mess here, we can gain 20 regard with them.
Respect is earned.
Yes,
And
and this
let's do
regard
it
can be
again.
also spent. Yes, and do you know why we can do two turns, two actions per turn? Because you're Ramses.
I'm Ramses, which
This
gives me
is-
access to court actions.
Yeah. Usually you can do only one per turn, but this is the power of Ramses. He is very smooth in the court.
Let's see. Right. Let's just go through here real quick because I want to show. Now that we have some regard. Whoops, that's wrong. That's court. So we can perform some intrigue. We could, we could make a request. We could
But
plot
we need to-
against.
Yes. We can plot against, we can participate in other people's plots, we can ask people to participate in our plots. Those plots can provide us with different benefits. You can take legitimacy from characters, you can add legitimacy to you can remove the player from the position, different things that one can do with the cards. And but plots can be performed against you, so be vigilant. I played once with Viceroy of Kush, and I was enjoying a good portion of gold plus access to good units, and all of a sudden I lost this comfort, and it was pain.
Yeah. Sometimes you might find that especially if you're playing on random starting positions, you might find that the Egyptian court that some of the seats are empty, so then you can occupy them yourselves, and it's going to cost you some.
Yes.
So it's a good fun mechanic and something like extra to do. There's so much to do in this game, man. Right. So let's see. We were on. Court was 0.8. We already did 0.9 because that was Power of the Crown. Skipped ahead a little bit. Let's talk Ancient Legacy.
May I just say something about the power of the crown? Just one sentence.
Absolutely.
There is a very cool power. I'm not going to talk about all powers. One power allows the player to annex regions, small factions, just by the pressing of a button. Up to 3 regions. If this faction is too small for you and it's kind of a pain in your pleasantness, you can just annex them, and it's a very powerful very powerful pharaonic tool to increase your empire, to expand. That's it. Only this. Spoiler.
Spoilers. Yeah, and as you can see, once you join a civil war or claim the throne, you can start equipping crowns, and there are 5 crowns per court. Right, let's...
Three for Egyptian and three for the three regalia items for the Hittite court.
That's it. Then we have Ancient Legacy.
Yes.
There are 4 for the Egyptians and 2 for the Hittites, I believe.
Yep, exactly. Very quickly, what is ancient legacy? The history of Egypt is thousands of years old, so they have many great leaders. What we want to represent here is not only to focus on the specific time period of the collapse of the Bronze Age, but also to refer to some of the great leaders of the past. So here we kind of take this, and the player would be able to shape up a little bit their play through their game through the prism of one of those great historical figures.
Right. And each legacy is going to sort of mold how you play the game.
Yes.
So as you can see, we have the 4 here. We're just going to be showing off 1 today. Because we want you to experience something for yourself. So we're going to show off my personal favorite, which is Hatshepsut, the merchant.
Very good pronunciation.
Thank you. So this is all about trade, and once I select this, there's no going back.
Yes, this is once per game, and it's only available when a person decides to choose a path. The Egyptian legitimacy path. So yeah, let's see what's happening here.
So Hatshepsut the merchant is going to allow us to do trade with some of the other factions, or some of the other places, some of the other major cities around the world. So we can see that our capital is in Sinai. If we wanted to send a caravan to Lower Egypt, we can see what they're offering and what they really like.
Yes.
We can look around to see, because we are currently losing bronze. I'm kind of really interested in sending someone down here to the Western Desert.
Very
and
nice.
We have a fair amount of food.
Okay.
So let's load up our cart with some food.
Yes. This will cost 4,000 food. Those 10 items of fix as expedition costs. This increases the quality of the expedition. So at the moment you invest 4,000 food for this.
Yeah. Let's send the expedition. So we're gonna send them, and it's gonna take a couple of turns before they arrive. But let's. So this
during
is
this time you do your business, your empire business, your business, your kingdom.
So it's 3 turns. I'm just gonna go through these real quick. I don't really care about this playthrough because I literally started it today. Although in this one I didn't cheat anything, I think.
Ooh,
oh wait, no, I did.
Different approach.
I did cheat. I just remember. I gave myself immediately 20 units so I could just conquer some stuff real quick. Sure, whatever. So some people may think that this is just the caravan system from Warhammer 3. It is very different. Let's refuse that. So during Shemsuhor, which happens every
6 turns.
6 turns.
Yes.
There can be some events happening. During the first 2, you're going to be unlocking some features, and then there are possible events happening. So, our caravan has arrived in wherever it was we sent it. So let's unload our figs.
I believe. Yes.
Yeah, unload our figs, and we want bronze. So let's grab some bronze ingots. We still have 50. So let's see. Oh, nope. Let's see. Can we?
So it's five gold. It's going to be the tip.
Yeah. Well, all right. I don't. Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to take a. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
We
there
can
you
take.
go. There you go.
We can take back
Good.
400 food income here
It's
from
okay.
some Aces food. We will conclude the dealings.
10% of your investment back just from this.
Damn it! I messed up. Do. Let's. What was it? It was the
The one,
face.
yeah,
There we go.
there.
So, now
It got,
say that we didn't want to say that we had more food in our cart than we wanted to give away. We could have kept
yes,
some of that food in our cart and then sent them away to a different place to pick up more copper or
yes,
more.
yes. It's not, yeah. You can travel around, try to make a good deal on to several places, and then come back. It's not just one way, one turn deal.
Indeed. So
Yeah.
we could theoretically go, from Sinai to Lower Egypt to Western Desert to Kush,
Yes.
Nubia, like go all the way around. But
Yes.
unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, we were able to unload all of our food in at the beginning. So then we select our cart to return to capital.
Yes.
It's
There is something interesting, historical trivia
Yep.
connected with this legacy. As you see that there is one marketplace which is outside the map, and it's Punt.
Yeah.
And it's Punt because Hatshepsut historically had created this trade route, and
Ah.
it's something that happened in history. And this is the connection here.
Right. So we can see here where we're traveling here in. Is that supposed to be magenta?
I'm not good with colors, honestly.
Magenta is usually like
numbers.
the color you put on program art. I've never actually seen magenta used in an actual game, and maybe it's supposed to be. I mean, it stands out, right? It doesn't blend in with the blue of the ocean or the yellow of the sands. Right. So we have.
We need to wait a little bit.
Yep.
For
Go
this
away,
to-
Seti.
for the caravan to come back. Generally, this legacy helps a lot. It brings good resources. It helps with the economy. Because you can see with what resources you start at the moment, because you're doing nothing to increase your economy at the moment. So it's kind of stays around your starting position economy. And when we receive the food, you see the relation between the two.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah, so we can see, like, we're losing bronze.
And your income is in the hundreds at best.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Right, so we need one more turn for the caravan to return. Let's skip that. That's spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler. Nothing to see here.
Well, I guess the UI gave us away. But yeah, if you want to see that cutscene, go play the game. Right. So, our expedition has returned. It has returned with copper ore, oasis fruit, and bronze ingots.
Yes. And now we can decide. This is very interesting. Now here it's only resources that we can translate them to.
Yeah.
But here we can some of those things can be chosen what they can be translated to.
So we could do ancillaries, resources, or bonuses.
To the province, yes. But items that you've chosen apparently can only be transferred into resources.
Right. As you saw, there were a lot of things that we could have done. So then we end the expedition.
Yes. 700 bronze is a lot of bronze.
Yeah, that's not bad. So that's how this, and then we could go. We have 2,000 stone. No, they offer stone. Let's see.
One piece of advice: be very careful with your stone.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is advice for everyone who plays the game.
Let's look at Punt here. So we could go there and get bronze statuettes. And here we can see that we could convert it into bronze income, or it could give us influence for 6 turns in a province, depending on our choice there on the previous screen.
Yes. And now this is exactly
Mm.
the legacy has depth, and
Oh
if
yeah.
a player would like to immerse themselves in this legacy, they will manage that.
Hmm. So this is one of the 6 available ancient legacies, and one of my favorites because I really like trade. I think trade is like one of the most fun mechanics in video games. Um, so that's why I chose for us to show this off.
Mhm.
But yeah, so there's 4 for the Egyptians and 2 for the Hittites, that you can choose and explore on your own. Right, and then we're going to do Pillars of Civilization.
Yes. Okay. We can cover this place. Yeah, very quickly. What are pillars of civilization? There are 19 settlements on the map, which we see as those very highly developed cultural settlements that literally keep the civilization on their shoulders. And we can
Mm.
see them and identify them by those golden circles around them. They are Every pillars of civilization center is also a cult center of a certain god.
Ah.
This is not a coincidence that we have 19 cult centers and 19 pillars of civilization. This system is based on settlements spread across the map. If you zoom out a little bit, you can see that they're across the map. There are some in Anatolia, there are some in Canaan, there are some in Egypt,
Yeah.
and whenever a main building of this settlement is destroyed, the civilization level drops. If a settlement is raised, it drops a lot. If you press here, we can see how it works. As you see in the central column, just beneath prosperity that says civilization state, we can see that the moment the points break down is we have 2 cult centers, 2 pillars of civilization settlements, which
Mm.
have third level of main building. This is the government's building, and another 16 settlements at the moment which have fourth.
Mm.
This, at the moment, there are 18. One is possibly destroyed or beneath a level 3 main building. That's why it doesn't contribute to the
Right. Right.
points.
Right.
With the game, with the expansion of the game, with the expansion of the campaign, and the appearance of sea people and AI becoming stronger, those settlements will start changing hands. Some of them will be
Mm.
raised, and the pillars and the civilization will drop first into crisis and then into collapse, and this will have its own consequences. To the right, you see these 4 populace. You see these 4 pictures. The first one is your faction. This is what the faction gets at the moment from prosperity.
Okay.
If the state changes, possibly something else will happen. But we also have sea peoples and nomads. They will benefit largely from the crisis and collapse. They will increase their potential as armies, and they'll be
Right.
tougher to beat. So it's kind of in the player's interest to try to keep prosperity levels a little higher, but
Yeah.
it's not entirely in their hands.
No. No.
They
No.
can. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because people like Irsu wants to burn down
Yes.
every cult center to lower the prosperity.
Yes.
So for a to really help yourself against the sea peoples in the end game, you want to keep the civilization state as high as possible, which you could potentially do by conquering all of them yourself, I suppose.
All of them is impossible, possibly for foreseeable length of a campaign. But this is the interesting part. The balance, as you see, the balance of a civilization hangs about a level 4. So if you have some settlements and you bring them to level 5, possibly you will be able to skew a little bit
Yeah.
the scales in our favor. And finally, on the left, the events. This is once again, we have at the moment, since it's prosperity, we have higher chance of blessing happening on the map, blessing events, which are increased food and production and prosperity and growth. But we have a chance of disaster also. The chance of disaster events will increase significantly with the drop of civilization states.
I think in so here we have the you can choose which at the beginning of the campaign you can choose which disasters are available. So you can choose if there's one you don't like, or if there's one you really like, you can choose to only have that one, for example, or you can turn off earthquakes if you don't like them. You can
And
also,
also,
if we do high, does this change the? Yeah,
there you
there we
go.
go.
And this is prosperity. This is going possibly close to 50% chance per turn to have the disasters to happen. The,
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the, the important here is thing is here disasters are local. They are happening on certain territory. So there is a chance your lands to be hit by a disaster and not the enemy's lands, and there is a
Mm,
chance to the opposite to happen. So there is this level of unpredictability which may go either way,
yeah.
and yeah.
Yes, indeed. And similarly, we were talking about seed peoples. You can also choose to make more seed peoples, which will create a bigger challenge in the end game.
And more devastation.
And more.
Devastation.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. There's so much to do. Right. So we have one final bit. We are only 25 minutes over time. uh, let's talk about how do you win a campaign in Total
Yes.
War Pharaoh.
Yes. This is one of my favorites. Like there are many favorite parts from it here, but I very much like this one because it's you win as you wish. You have
Mm,
points that you need to gather, and as you can see, there are 110 points for ultimate victory. But if you scroll down, you'll see that the possible points that you can get are more than
oh yeah.
110. So this represents different ways for the player to win the game. Uh, uh, those victory objectives will, those points will be uncovered for the player as they go because we didn't
Mm,
want to overwhelm the player with all possible options. But as they grow and expand, they will see more and more options for them to get points and to win the game.
indeed. So we're doing a very very modular way. For example, if you just wanted to do conquest, you can get an ultimate victory from just conquests. But that but you could also go for adding some feats of rule in there.
Yeah.
So there are 13. Apparently, currently I have Pharaoh and 13 undiscovered feats
Yes.
of rule.
But you know that if you become the Pharaoh, this will add to the points of your victory.
Indeed.
Yes.
And then there's landmarks and ambitions. So there are lots of ways to achieve victory in Pharaoh, and I can imagine this being quite fun. I've not played multiplayer in Pharaoh yet, but I imagine this could be quite fun. Trying to like get the most amount of points through different routes in the game.
Yes. 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 I hope that for this hour and a half we managed to show exactly the sandboxiness of the game
Oh
in a
yeah,
way because even the victory objectives are with this
yeah.
open-ended thing. And once again, if we can start end with the start customization options, we envisioned a way for the player to experience the game, but with the options and with all the systems in the game, this experience came very largely.
Oh yeah. There's no way you're going to be able to experience the entire game in just one playthrough. I
Yes.
mean, if you even just want to experience like all the ancient legacies, you have to do 6 playthroughs. And then you can have all the campaign customizations where you slow the game down by lowering everyone's budgets. You change up the world with random faction starting positions. There's so much to do in Total War Pharaoh's campaign that I hope everyone is going to be very excited for it.
Me too.
And yeah, we managed. Yeah, so we went. We planned for 60 minutes. We went 90. It is a Friday afternoon, and I am keeping Alex here after work hours. So I'm going to let him go. I hope that everyone in the chat, I'm sorry we're not going to have time to do some Q&A, but I'm sure we're going to be able to do something in the future. But I hope everyone has enjoyed this overview of the entire Total War Pharaoh campaign. You've seen how much there is. I've seen a lot of comments in chat about people who are really appreciative of the features and everything that is in it. I saw a lot of love for campaign customization. Is there a way to see campaign customization option after it's launched? I mean, yeah. just open the menu and look at them. These are the options that are currently in effect. Right. So, thank you. I just realized that I did something on the screen. But yeah, just open the menu and see what's selected. That's what's active. Anyway, I'm
I
not
would
going
like
to keep you.
I would like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to talk about the game. It's a very, very good opportunity for us to just share our thoughts and possibly to share some clarity on some of the systems. And I really hope that the players will enjoy the game
Hmm.
and will be happy to hear their opinion.
Yeah. We do actually have a very good question here. How many turns will the average campaign last? Have you
Yes.
how long have your campaigns been?
Once again, have in mind that there are so many edge cases in different types of play. We can
Yeah.
predict. We can predict. We were aiming for a good, interesting fun for about 100. Like not fun, a lot of fun. But the campaign can be completed for about 150 turns.
Mm.
There would be a lot more to do after that if the player would like to go for this. But if with a normal expansion rate and everything, 150 turns would be good. Would be completable. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't remember. I think the longest campaign I've done is about 100 turns, but I don't remember how close I was on victory points.
Possibly
Where,
minor victory. You possibly had minor victory, but I don't know how you fared. It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
it's not connected to the turns. It's connected to how you play the game.
yeah. And because apparently some people were confused about where that came from. I believe that specific question came from YouTube chats because we stream on both YouTube and Twitch. Anyway, all right. I've been rambling too much. We will be back at some point. I don't know when, but I do believe we have one more stream planned. So we will see you then. Make sure that you subscribe and follow and everything. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye.